Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing something I have not done in a very long time. And I have not done this in a very long time because I lost my taste for YouTube drama years ago. You may remember the little spats that I had with the rideshare revolution and stuff like that, and uh, I would really prefer to leave stuff like that behind where we've all moved on. But then I see this video and I struggle a little bit. I leave a long comment. This person has a follow up video. I leave another comment, and her response was kind of, I don't know how to put this, but it was something that made me go, like, you know what? I think this is something I can safely comment on my channel. It actually will be bringing up the gig economy a little bit, which is something I have not talked about in a while. And I think we just need to give some constructive advice. I want to start by saying that I do like the channel. The channel's called Movies and Sue. And I know Sue is probably going to take this the wrong way if she sees this, but I do hope for the best for her. The reason I am doing this video is because I believe in some tough love. I have some unique perspectives on the situation. And by the way, Sue, if you see this, you know, I'm very approachable. You can call me. I know you don't feel like, people like me should be making videos about this, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but I kind of think like this is a good lesson for everyone involved. Now, we're going to be watching and reacting to this video. I don't work a 9-to-5 job, and I never will. And by the way, if you don't want to work a 9-to-5 job ever, I mean, I didn't work a 9-to-5 job for a very long time. Was very public for a very long time. Like, I would say for at least 3 years. This channel was my business. And I still have side businesses. I have eBay. I do freelance writing. I do have a stable 9-to-5 job at the moment, but there was a time where I had to have 2 jobs, and I will discuss why. But there's nothing wrong with not working a 9-to-5 job if you are in a position to do so. That's kind of the big thing. If you're in a position to not work a 9-to-5 job, then by all means take it. Though it's a great feeling. But here's the problem. We're going to go back for a second. She started to get a little famous because of where is it? She did a video where it's over here. It's kind of unfortunately off camera. A 44-year-old reveals debt as a physical media collector. And by the way, I also sympathize with this because as a teenager, I got into some bad debt when I was buying anime on DVDs and stuff like that. So this is a real thing. I'm not saying it's not. Don't judge. People get into debt for a number of different reasons. But she spent, as you can see as the little preview is showing, a lot of money. There's like over $14,000 in a Discover card, and she had like a Capital One card. Like, I think, don't quote me, I didn't double check, but I do believe it was over $30,000 in debt. If that's not entirely correct, I am sorry, but she will admit it's tens of thousands of dollars in debt. And let's start off on a positive. It was very brave of her to make this video, to admit like, hey, I made a mistake. I overspent, and as a result, I am now in debt. And I have to change my life, and I need to make some changes. And one of the things that she wanted to do by making this video was have some accountability. So you know what? Good on her for that. That is incredibly brave. It is very commendable. It's not, Like, look, it's easy for people on YouTube to show the money that they make doing whatever it is they're doing, the success stories. Like, look, we've got the answer to how you can make it. But it's an entirely different thing to say, hey, I'm in trouble, I'm struggling, I have all this money, and by the way, and I'm gonna have to make some changes, and I'm gonna put that up there not only to be transparent about how I failed so that you don't have to fail, but so that you can keep me accountable. This is all very, very positive, and it earned a subscriber from me. I of course, and I have liked most of her videos. And you see, the videos over here, like you can make money as a physical media collector on YouTube. Look, yeah, that's the kind of videos that people typically post. They don't typically post these where they show the uglier side of this. So again, kudos. But there was at least one aspect of this reveal, I suppose, that she probably wasn't prepared for. She wasn't prepared for the fact that people were going to comment back. And some people were not going to respond positively. Some people would say, I'm glad you're doing this. Some people would encourage her. And then some people would simply be mean. Like they do things like they call her fat and stuff. And her response is like, look, I've got a mirror. You think that's going to hurt me? And it's like, yeah, it's an irrelevant thing to bring up. And by the way, it's extremely cruel. You don't need to bring up people's weight. Their weight does not make them bad people. And as someone who has struggled with weight for a large portion of my life, I agree that this little avatar that I'm speaking through, look, I've not always been that thin. I'm not sure if I'm that thin now, but, you know, whatever. That's why it's a fantasy, right? But she's also been a little, I would say, combative for people who have real legitimate suggestions on how she can get out of her situation a little bit faster. And she made this video, and we're going to respond to this video. I wasn't going to do this, but then I'll tell you why I decided to do this.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. We are getting real and authentic yet again in today's video because I want to talk about a topic that was brought up in the comments section in my series of debt revealed videos, and that is that I do not work a quote-unquote normal job. I do not work a 9-to-5 job. I never have, and I absolutely never will.
Now, I'm going to pause here for a second. I'm going to be pausing a little bit of time. This could potentially be a fairly long video, just to warn you. Again, I want to stress, you don't have to have a 9-to-5 job. You don't have to have it. And that's fine. But this whole, I will never work a 9-to-5 job, that was the first comment where this video was like, uh-oh, we could be in a lot of trouble with this mentality, and I'm going to explain why. Let's continue.
Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because I feel like now we live in such a progressive society. We're going into the year of 2025. And so for people to judge other people that do not work the quote-unquote normal job, I feel is very closed-minded.
All right, again, this is not to discourage anyone who works a 9-to-5 job. If you are in the position to do that, then that is great. My buddy Randy, who does auto auctions rebuilds, he doesn't work a 9-to-5 job. He arguably works a little bit more, but, you know, he doesn't do the regular grind. And he is very, very successful at what he does. But the key thing is that you need for it to be able to work. Like, it needs to be able to work for you. And that's going to kind of be what the underlying issue with this video is. Let's continue.
Because there's all sorts of ways for people to earn income nowadays. There are some people out there that earn full-time incomes, very, very good full-time incomes, just being a social media content creator. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever it is. You do not have to work a 9-to-5 job any longer. And sometimes I feel like those people that do throw out those comments that you should be working a 9-to-5, I feel like those people are the ones that work a 9 to 5. And you know what? They're miserable and they hate it. And that is the reason why I will never work a 9 to 5 job, because to me, it seems like a nightmare. When I picture some
Okay, so I didn't know where to pause right there, so I accidentally sped up a little bit. Now this is where she got into trouble with a lot of her viewers, saying like the people who are saying that are working 9 to 5 jobs and they are miserable, and that's why I will never work it. Now, okay, look, I was not offended by this comment. Some people working 9 to 5 jobs are truly miserable. They are, and you know what? There are some people who leave these comments saying like, well, if I'm miserable, you should be miserable too. No, you don't. No one has to be miserable. But it was a follow-up comment where it's like, I don't want to be miserable. That's why I will never have the 9 to 5 job. And this is coming from someone who has tens of thousands of dollars in debt. That's what I want you to hone in on, because that was my issue with this video.
Someone going to work for a 9 to 5 job, this is what I'm picturing in my mind. I am picturing a person getting up super early in the morning, putting on a very conservative button-down outfit that they don't want to be wearing. It's very uncomfortable. Driving to an office with hundreds of people, walking to your little cubicle, sitting down, typing, making phone calls, associating with annoying coworkers that you pretend to get along with, but you really hate in real life. And you're faking it until you make it for 8 hours out of the day, until you walk to your car, and then you get to drive home. Imagine.
Okay, so now that I realize I can speed it up like this, we're gonna speed it up like this. So she's listing all those reasons why she doesn't want to do a 9 to 5 job. But again, keep them in the back of my mind. And it's not wrong that you don't want to live this life, that you don't want to do that with your life. But keep in mind, she has tens of thousands of dollars in debt. That's what I want you to keep in mind. Let's continue.
Imagine doing that 5 days a week. It sounds like a nightmare. It sounds boring. That has never been appealing to me at all whatsoever. And that is the reason why I have never worked a 9 to 5, and I will never work a 9 to 5. I feel like if I did, I would be miserable the entire time. That is just not what I meant to do.
And this is actually where you do get into a progressive mindset where it's like, I am not meant to do that. Well, what are you meant to do in life? Like, really, at the end of the day, if you have like religious beliefs, maybe you are called to preach the gospel or be a witness to Jehovah or whatever. I mean, but really, when you're born to this world, unless you subscribe to a religious belief of some sort, what is it you're meant to do? It's what you decide you want to do. So she is deciding she does not want to live this life. It will never be for her. And again, if she is in the position to do that, she can do that. But again, I want to keep this in the back of my mind. She has tens of thousands of dollars in debt. So she doesn't want to do a 9 to 5. What is she actually doing to pay that debt down?
Any job that I've done in the past, I've been on my feet, moving around, because sitting down for 8 hours a day in front of a computer screen is not appealing to me. I need to be moving around. When I was working normal, regular jobs. But when I was working pre-DoorDash days, I was primarily
Oh, you got to be kidding me. She's working DoorDash. Okay, folks, here's the thing. And this probably will sound a little judgmental, but, considering this is the topic that got the channel started, was DoorDash, and then it turned to Uber and Lyft and everything, and then I decided to finally move on from it. I can tell you, from experience, DoorDash is not paying the bills. DoorDash is not gonna be enough to pay off tens of thousands of dollars in debt, at least not anytime soon. DoorDash is a less than minimum wage paying job for the most part. Unless you get lucky and someone tips you very well, it's less than minimum wage. So this is one of the things she's doing to pay off her tens of thousands of dollars in debt. Oh boy, let's continue.
Waitress. I was a waitress for almost 20 years. I actually loved what I did. Constantly moving around, taking care of customers. It's also kind of a workout at the same time, because when it's really busy in a restaurant, you gotta hustle. You gotta hustle, you're hustling around, you're earning your money, and also you have those repeat customers that come in on a daily or a weekly basis. You're making friendships with those people. I actually really enjoyed being a waitress. But
Okay, so yeah, and here's the thing. So a waitress is a 9 to 5 job, kind of. I mean, you're working 40 hours a week for the most part, but she likes being a waitress. And here's the thing, waitressing does pay the minimum wage, at least in most states. It does. And you get tips on top of that. That would be a great thing to go back to help pay down your tens of thousands of dollars in debt. So, okay, she's mentioning this, so clearly she can do that and she can start paying off this debt.
But it got to the point, and I did it to myself, my last waitressing job that I had, I was there for 6 years, kind of on and off, but I was there for 6 years. And it was one of those places that was privately owned, and I worked in chain restaurants like Ruby Tuesday or Applebee's, 99. I pretty much worked at every single one. So I worked at chain restaurants, but also privately owned as well. And the last restaurant that I worked at was for 6 years, a little hole-in-the-wall place that was very popular. And so I really enjoyed it. I loved it when I first started working there, but I burnt myself out. I burnt myself out because it was the kind of place where you could make your own schedule, like you're in charge of your own destiny type of thing. They wanted people that wanted to work and work hard, and that was me. I wanted to make a lot of money. I wanted to work hard, so that's why I pretty much worked 6 doubles a week. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the term double when it comes to being a waitress, you work the lunch shift and you work the dinner shift as well. So I was pulling like 10-hour days every single day, not every day, but 6 days a week. So like 60 hours a week. I burned myself out. I was working way too much. So by the time I left that restaurant, and I'm saying this because you might be getting the impression, well, why did you leave? This is why I left, because it just got to be a toxic work environment. The employees, my coworkers that were there, I didn't really enjoy working with them anymore. I'm just gonna put it like that, just to be nice about it. But I knew it was not a work environment that I wanted to be in any longer, and so I was done.
Okay, so she left the work environment. Clearly there was something that happened there. But again, she gets to make her own schedule. She did admit she kind of did this to herself. And, okay, doesn't mean you can't do this again if you clearly liked waitressing and stuff. That would pay better than DoorDash. And you have tens of thousands of dollars in debt to take care of. Well, so will she go back to waitressing?
I was done. I walked out the door. I went home. I debated what I was going to do. Mom, should I quit? Should I not quit? I told her the situation because something did occur that kind of like forced me to make this decision. She said, do what you feel. I support you. Do what you feel. So I slept on it. When I woke up, I felt the exact same way. So I contacted my manager in the morning and I said, I quit. I'm done. I'm not giving you a 2-week notice. I apologize, but I'm not coming back. And that was the last time that I had like a quote unquote normal job. But even before I was a waitress, I worked retail. I worked at an amusement park here in my town where I live. Like that was my first job ever. I've never worked a regular 9 to 5. I've never had the desire to work a 9 to 5. I just like the convenience and the flexibility of self-employment. So this is one of the reasons why people still do gig work, and I spoke against this greatly near the end when I was like I can't keep doing this anymore. Honestly, flexibility is the only perk that self-employment in the gig economy provides you. Like that you technically don't have to get on and off when you want, but then even that's kind of illusion because there are time periods where it is busy, and that's what the surge did. It basically is a way to get you on. So I'm glad I like the flexibility too, if you're in a position where you can do that. But right now, she's got tens of thousands of dollars in debt, and she is working a job that is paying less than minimum wage. That's one of the jobs. Let's see, what else is she doing? When I left that last waitressing job, obviously I had to figure out what I was going to do. I said to myself, I need a break from waitressing. I don't want to do this anymore right now. What am I going to do? And so I discovered gig apps. Gig apps are DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Instacart, all those convenient delivery apps that people use on a daily basis. I was like, you know what? Self-employment. I'm going to try this because I was just tired of the micromanaging because that was starting to occur at the job that I just left. 6 months before I left, it was starting to get really bad. Micromanagement from all the managers. They were trying to crack down on people. And I was not one of the people that they needed to crack down on, but they had to crack down on me as well, because if they didn't, it wouldn't have been fair to everyone else. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's bullshit personally. I mean, there are probably bad managers and everything, but if you're being cracked down on, chances are you're getting away with something that you should not have been gotten away with. I mean, the way she words it's like, look, everyone was getting away with this, and because if they crack down on these people, they had to crack down on me too, suggesting like you had some privilege to be able to get away with that. Like, again, she's not being super specific, but it's like something about this isn't really adding up.
So being cracked down, micromanagement, being looked over your shoulder, I was tired of all of that. So going over to the gig apps with DoorDash and Uber Eats, no boss. I am my own boss. I control my destiny. The flexibility of it.
You are your own boss is a myth with the gig economy apps. It is an absolute myth.
If I don't feel good, I don't have to go to work. If I need to do something at a certain time, if I have an appointment, I can always stop what I'm doing and I'm done for the day. The convenience and the flexibility of doing what I do is so amazing. And it's convenient for my life. Gig apps is definitely not for everyone, but that also comes with a 9-to-5 job as well. Working a 9-to-5 is not for everyone either. It's very easy to judge someone that is having a money issue or debt problem and just say, well, why do you work a 9-to-5? What's your problem? You'll make a bunch of money. Will I?
So this is why people are saying this, Sue. It's because if you owe a lot of money, then a 9-to-5, or heck, even going back to waitressing, we're getting closer to 40 hours. Heck, if you deliver pizza part-time, you will make the minimum wage and tips. You will pay off your debt so much more, and you said this was a priority. That's why people are recommending it to you, because, hey, you can get out of debt way faster and more cleanly with a 9-to-5 job. And here's the thing. No one says you have to do it forever. This could be a temporary thing where it's like, yeah, it's not going to be as much fun, but you do what you have to do and you suck it up until your goal is met. So we've got like 5 minutes left, probably less with the speed up. Let's continue.
I mean, will I though? Will I make a bunch of money? Do I want to sacrifice my happiness for, I don't know. It just seems like people that work.
Okay, look, and this is where the entitlement, this is where I had the issue with the video. Do I want to sacrifice my happiness? You know what? Sometimes we got to sacrifice our happiness to do what we need to do. You know what? Like, look, I'm married. This is not a dig at her. She has admitted that she's divorced. This is not a dig at her or anyone who's divorced. But like, I'm married, and sometimes I'm asked to do things that, you know what? Hey, I don't really want to do them, but you know what? I do because it's going to make my wife happy. It's going to make the marriage better. So even if I'm not necessarily crazy about the idea, I'm going to do it. And you know what? I recently left a second job that I took because there was a little bit of debt that was accrued. And it's like, you know what? We got to pay this off because otherwise the interest is just going to kill us. So I took a second job and I paid off the debt. I kept it just a little bit longer to have like a little bit of extra money in the bank, just for more stocks and stuff. And then I let it go. And it wasn't the most fun I've ever had, but I did it because I'm an adult. And sometimes as an adult, you have to do what you don't want to do the right thing. And that is where this video really, I think, started rubbing people the wrong way. Like, you know, why should I sacrifice my happiness to pay off my debt? Because you got into debt. That's why. Yeah, I just slammed the desk. I'm sorry. Got a little passionate there. Because you got into debt. You made mistakes. And you know what? You're not sacrificing your happiness thing. That was part of the reason you got into that debt in the first place. So you know what? Now you have to consider doing some things that you maybe don't want to do to get out of the situation you find yourself in. Let's continue.
9-to-5s are miserable and they are not happy either. Working a 9-to-5 is not appealing to me at all whatsoever. That is my biggest absolute nightmare. I would never ever want to do that. So the reason why I'm making this video and I'm talking about everything, kind of like getting back to my point, I guess I'm kind of like all over the board with this, but I'm just so passionate about this that if you know that working a 9-to-5 is not for you, you don't have to do that. In this day and age, there are so many different avenues that you could take to make money. You don't have to sacrifice your happiness or your creative side or whatever it is to work a 9-to-5 job.
Okay. Again, if you are in a position, I want to state that you can do that. But look, I know what DoorDash pays. Now, I don't have her spreadsheets in front of me. I don't have what she makes, but I can almost guarantee you that a 9-to-5 would pay more than DoorDash. And with the money she owes, oh boy, like she could probably get that debt paid off a year sooner than otherwise. And when she says you don't have to sacrifice your creative side, yeah, sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. And, you know, she's going to talk about how she wants to grow her YouTube channel and make it a full-time job. And by the way, totally encourage her to try. I'm still trying to get back to that point. So I wish everyone the best of luck. But you know what? Making YouTube as your job is hard. Sometimes it's a little bit of a luck of the draw. And that is so not a guaranteed thing. And by the way, I looked up what she potentially makes on Social Blade. You know, we're not really supposed to talk about what as YouTubers we make, and Social Blade is not entirely accurate. Sometimes people have, you know, mentioned, oh, look at what you're making on Social Blade, and I say, well, that is incorrect, I can tell you. But the thing is, even if her Social Blade numbers are incorrect, guess what? It's still not a lot of money. I mean, YouTube is not really helping to pay down this debt. If the estimates are even remotely accurate, it's making like a blip on the whole thing. So now let's continue this, because it's like this is where it gets really amazing.
Now, I like doing what I do because, as I mentioned, the flexibility, that's pretty much the number one thing for me right now, is the flexibility of DoorDash and Uber Eats. Number one main is because...
Yeah, okay. And as I mentioned, flexibility is the main reason most people haven't left it, even when they've gotten themselves into a financial situation they can't pull themselves out of.
Because of my mom. You guys know, I live here at home. I already discussed that in that video that I talked about. I live here at home with my mom and dad because I help to take care of my mom, and she's going to get worse. This is not a disease where you get better. You progressively get worse. There is going to come a point where my mom is going to be bedbound. She's not going to be able to get out of her bed, and so I need to be around if she needs me.
So, look, taking care of parents is very admirable, and there's no criticism on that one. The only thing I'm going to say about this is it doesn't sound like she's bedridden yet, but when she is bedridden, then yes, at that point, getting a 9-to-5 or a retail job or something is probably going to be off the table. It kind of sounds like maybe this isn't a super big issue at the moment. I don't know. But most companies will work with you when you have sick parents that you have to take care of. And if the situation is going to get worse to where she's bedridden, you might as well take the job that's going to pay more money now and sacrifice that happiness. Because I'm going to tell you what will also be affected when your mom is bedridden. Your gig work will also be affected. You might not be able to work some of the busy hours that you used to do. Like, that's going to affect anything. So I would suggest getting the job that pays the most now while you can, and pay off the debt while you can, and then hope, God willing, your mom will not get worse for a while. And when she does get worse, then you can switch completely to the gig work. That is definitely where gig work comes in handy. But she doesn't seem like she's in that position now, so now is the opportunity to make some money.
If I need to come home early, if I need to help her with something, or my dad needs help with her, or whatever it is, I can't do that if I'm working a regular 9-to-5. So that...
Not true. You can absolutely do that, especially if you have an understanding boss.
That is a huge benefit of what I do versus working a quote-unquote regular job, a 9-to-5. The other reason why I enjoy working what I do is because of this channel right here. I would not be able to pump out the content that I do, watch all these movies at the theater and at home. I would not be able to do all of this if I worked another job, because the flexibility would...
So, again, this is where you get so frustrating, because I love movies. Obviously, I have, like, 2 channels dedicated to movies and a website, and I write about entertainment. I love movies. First of all, you can watch movies and produce content based on them with a 9-to-5 job. I can say that with experience. You can do that. It takes a little extra time, but movies are fun, so I do it. But do you understand the entitlement that this sounds like? Like, if I worked a 9-to-5 job to help pay down my tens of thousands of dollars I have in debt, then I would not be able to watch these movies. I would not be able to make my YouTube videos. I would not be able to do this fun stuff that I enjoy doing. I'd have to miserably work and make a living to pay off my tens of thousands of dollars in debt that I have. Does she not realize how bad this sounds?
with what I do, I mainly work breakfast and lunch. I come home at a certain time, I eat lunch for myself, and then when I'm done with that, then it's time to focus on this and focus on my YouTube channel. And going into the brand new year of 2025, that is what I want to do, because you guys know ultimately I do want to make YouTube my full-time gig. I would like to kind of, push the gig apps off to the side and concentrate solely on being a YouTube content creator.
And because I've been pretty harsh on her the whole time, I am going to say, and I mean it, I really, really hope that that's what happens. If only because it is a great job to be able to do YouTube for a living.
I love it. It's my passion. That's a completely different video in itself. But those are the reasons why a 9-to-5 job just would not work for me in my schedule. And at this point in my life right now, I like what I do. I like being self-employed. Do I make as much money as other people? No, I don't. I'll be the first.
Yeah, you see, you don't make as much money as other people, and you need to make as much money as other people. Maybe not the 6-figure job, but it's like you need to, at the very least, be making minimum wage, which it does not seem like you're doing. And now, why she feels she can justify that, because some people are going like, well, why doesn't she have like bills to pay and stuff? Like, well,
first one to admit that. No, I do not. But also, I do not have the bills of other people. I do not have a mortgage payment. I do not have a rent payment. My health insurance is like $26 a month. Car insurance is like $100. Like, I do not have these enormous bills that other people have. So I don't really feel the pressure to go out and get a different job, because I'm okay. I'm okay.
You're okay, but you have tens of thousands of dollars in debt. Are you not understanding this? You have tens of thousands of dollars in debt. You need to work these jobs. You need to make more money. I don't care that you don't have a mortgage. I don't care that you don't have rent. I don't care that your health insurance is cheap. If anything, do you know how many people would kill to be in your position with the debt you have, where it's like they have the debt you have, maybe even more, and they still have the bills, and they are doing all these things they need to do just to pay it off, and here you are, you could actually get out of debt in a year or so, and you are choosing not to, for completely selfish reasons. And I do believe they are selfish. So, look, let's finish this.
With doing what I'm doing. So I'm focusing on paying down my debt, and that's where I need to be right now. So working in...
Yes, you do. And you need to get a better paying job so you can finish that faster. And then, thankfully, it seems like you are in a position where you can make these dreams come true. But you know what? Now's not the time to worry about your dreams. Now's the time to worry about paying off the debt.
9-to-5 just doesn't make any sense to me. I hate the 9-to-5. I think other people hate the 9-to-5. I know there's a ton of other people here on YouTube.
Yeah, okay. I accidentally did the full screen there. It's like it makes perfect sense for you to get a 9-to-5, or at least another job. It makes more sense now than it probably ever will in your life. You just don't want to not have fun. So anyway, we're not going to finish the rest of it because that's basically what it is. As you can see, I gave this video a thumbs down, which is rare. Now, she did make a follow-up video called I Need to Apologize, and this is a video where she decides to apologize for one that she did yesterday. Now, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but we're going to play just a couple minutes, and I'm sure you'll be able to see what the problem is.
Hello everyone, I'm starting off this video by saying 2 simple words that need to be said, and they are I'm sorry. Yesterday I uploaded a video talking about 9-to-5 jobs, and the intent on that video was to explain why I prefer to work a different kind of job and not a 9-to-5. It was never my intent to insult anyone or hurt anyone's feelings that does work a 9-to-5. I realize that 9-to-5 jobs are important. I do realize that they are the majority of jobs out there. I get that. I understand that. I realize that the majority of you out there have mortgages and rent payments and children to take care of and spouses to take care of, maybe even extended family members. I totally understand that. My wording in that video was very poor. I really should have prepared more for that video before I hit the record button. That's where I was at fault. I was actually trying to be kind of jokey about it, but I don't think it landed very well.
No, you weren't being very jokey about it. Like, you had this sense of entitlement, like, I don't like 9-to-5 jobs. It's not fun. I'd be miserable. Therefore, I'm not going to do it, even though I have this crushing debt and I really should do it. And that's what this apology video is basically. And I'm going to end with one more thing on this one. You know, one of the reasons she makes these videos is because she has the need to defend herself. Whenever people criticize her or even offer constructive criticism, like, she makes videos explaining her situation and says, how dare people judge me? That's why she's not going to like this video, because she's going to perceive me as judging her. Well, here's the thing. If you put your life on YouTube, people are going to judge you. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't, but they're going to judge you, especially when you say things like, I have tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt from buying physical media, not even medical expenses, physical media. And I am purposefully choosing to not do things that would help me get out of that situation. And because it's not going to be fun. That's where people had the issue, I believe. That's where I had the issue. Where it's like, you honestly cannot be serious right now. You are an adult. You got yourself into a situation. Kudos for admitting you need to get out of it. But you know what they say, how admitting you have a problem is the first step. The next step is where the work comes in. And it doesn't seem like she really wants to do the work. She wants to try to make the YouTube channel bigger. And by the way, she's got over 13,000 subscribers. She's in a pretty good situation. And I do recommend you subscribe, because she does do fun little unboxing videos and stuff like that. And I'm following the journey very interestingly. I hope she gets out of debt. But making a living on YouTube is definitely a long shot. And there's a much more pressing matter than being YouTube famous or YouTube dependent. And that's why people suggested she get the job. In fact, I made a comment that, I made a much larger comment, and I said, look, I had a much more lengthy response. I'm still troubled by the fact that you glossed over the fact that you're potentially prioritizing living the life you want rather than the harder life that may get you out of debt faster. But at the end of the day, it is your life to live. And by the way, and then I gave her please also keep in mind these non-scripted videos online and putting yourself out as much as you do. People will judge you, possibly unfairly, but you invite them to do that when you post these videos. So making responses where the underlying theme is how dare you judge me is not a path that will lead to much success in a YouTube career. Now someone said, who cares? That's her opinion. In no way should she apologize. Now, she responded, no need for you to feel troubled about my life, which it's like, I'm troubled about your perspective on your situation, not your life. And after I wrote this comment, this is where I was like, you know what? I could have made a video the first time because, yeah, YouTuber who gets over $30,000 in debt by buying physical media, that is something that I would want to talk about. I really would. So that sounds like something I would do. But then she made a video how did some people judge me? I think they're, they don't know me, and what gives them the right to do that? And so I was kind of like, well, look, I like her, and it's like maybe it is a little tabloidy. But then she made this video where she not only thubbed her nose at the people who work 9 to 5, and look, she apologized for that, okay? But she did not apologize for basically how she came off as like, yeah, I'm in a bad situation. I know I'm in a bad situation. I need to fix it, but I don't want to do the thing that I should probably do to get myself out of this bad situation because I won't be happy. You know what, honey? Sometimes you got to do things that you aren't happy about. You got to do things that are miserable. And that is the thesis of this video. And this is for everyone. You know what? If you get yourself into trouble with debt and everything, you don't have to share that on YouTube if you don't want to. In fact, because of the hate she's getting, the very unfair hate she's getting for getting into the debt, I typically don't recommend you put it on YouTube. But come clean with a family member or a friend, get some accountability, and work towards getting out of the situation. The issue that I took, and a lot of people took, and what she totally glossed over in this apology video was that people were rightfully pointing out, hey, you're not in a position to turn down work that pays better, that will get you out of this bad situation that you yourself got yourself in, because you would be miserable. You know what? Sometimes you have to do things that make us a little miserable, if only temporarily, because we have to do what we have to do. And in fact, being in the situation where you don't have a mortgage, you don't have rent, where your overall expenses are super low, and you're still not taking the opportunity to get the extra job where you could really pay down that debt a lot faster, even with a minimum wage paying job, strikes me as extremely irresponsible. Extremely irresponsible. I'm going to keep following the channel. I am going to keep watching. I'm not going to promise viewers here that I'm going to make follow-up videos on this. I don't want this to turn into a flame war. Although, Sue, if you ever want to come on and have a one-on-one discussion, I'm totally willing to do that, because maybe it would be a helpful conversation for both of us. I don't know, but this is where I'm going to leave it here. The message being, if you are in a financial bind, don't turn down work that could get you out of that financial bind sooner, unless it's illegal, obviously. We don't want to do things illegal. But anyway, that's where we are going to end this video. So everyone, take care, and don't bother her. I'm not sending you to bother her. Please don't do that. Be nice. This is why I always say flame responsibly. Be constructive, be helpful. You can disagree, you can even say, I feel this is wrong, but do so in a manner that's respectful. We're all human beings at the end of the day. So take care. Hey, you made it to the end. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Just a few more things. First of all, the names that you see on the screen, these are our Patreon and YouTube member supporters. And I thank each and every one of them. Their support helps me make exclusive videos for Patreon and YouTube members, as well as keep the channel running. And of course, is just of huge kindness to me. Also, don't forget to check out the iCritic-led podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, Deezer, whatever podcasting service you listen to. It is there. We definitely want to see you there. And hey, there's also other videos that you can check out. So, check out these other channels, these other videos, especially that one. I think that's a really good one.